Hello, spiritual seekers. It's me, Linda Crea. All right. So today I'm here to talk to you about grief and how it actually relates to so much more of our lives than just the thing that we refer to it usually as the end of this human life. Okay, so the soul goes into the baby body, and then the soul at the end of the life leaves the baby body and is still a soul. All right, and then we grieve. We grieve the loss of the one we loved, whether it be an animal or a pet or usually we relate grief to something that was physical, then it's non-physical. But I want to today show you how many times we can lose an object, a relationship, and they're still very much alive, and we actually go through the 7 stages of grief for all of it. And most of you on my site, some of you want the law of attraction, to learn that mindset or to heal your body. And again, we want to manifest all these good things in. And the only way we can do that is if we get to the 7th stage of grief, which is acceptance and hope, knowing there's something better, right? We're to attract in, we need to be at that, I know there's going to be something better, and I already know it's coming. Okay, so it's beyond the 7 stages of grief. But you can't be in it, doubting and wrestling with it and pissed at it for it to manifest, okay? So let's just take a step back and go through the 7 stages of grief that you go through when you're grieving a loss. And again, relationships, anything that we lose, a job, someone says something unkind to us, we feel uncomfortable. And that's what grief is. We're uncomfortable with a situation, we grieve it. Okay? Going back to my family, I grieved the loss of my parents and my family 9 years ago. I actually did. It took about 6 months, and then I was like, you know what? I feel better every day without them in my life. So then I went to, this is acceptance. And guess what? If they're not, hurting me with their words and unkindness every day, what am I hanging on to that for? Okay, so then I found that my life was so much better without them. So I didn't grieve anymore that I didn't have a family. They're still very much alive, all of them. But anyway, I moved through it. So we have our 7 stages. The first is shock and denial. When you lose something, whether it's a human, a car, somebody steals something, you lose a ring, you lose your pet, the pet runs outside, you're like, oh my gosh, and then you have to get him back, all right? So it doesn't even have to be a death. Shock and denial. Say, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened. It's shock. That stage, oh, excuse me, read my hands. Okay, that shock, the emotion of shock, is actually a benefit to your body. It's a little time spent where your body's not freaking out. You're actually still and in that, numb place. All right, it's actually protecting you. So that shock, initial shock, is actually your nervous system and everything protecting you. Okay, so shock and denial, but that's what we do. We go right there. And then we start to feel it. The pain, the hurt. Oh, our heart chakras hurt. The physical pains, our stomach upset. We get our stiffness in our shoulders, we tense up. Our chakra areas actually seize up and start to process the loss, the change. And then guilt. So guilt, you could start to blame yourself or someone else, for whatever it is that's happening. Like I said, the loss of a ring. You lost the ring. How could this happen? Well, you did this or you did that. We start to get crazy like that. But that's when it really starts to infest our psyche, and we are flowing through the stages of guilt, okay? After it comes, and it could be weeks, it could be days, it could be hours, it could be months, depending on what it is and how difficult the change is, how much it meant to us is the blessing. But how much it hurts is the hardship, the guilt. The grief, not the guilt. So then we have our anger and our bargaining, and this is where the real ugly steamrolling emotions come in, And when you're angry and you're so bent out of shape about the loss, your body then goes into this anger and blame and frustration, and you're like railing against everything. You're bargaining, you're pleading with God to bring the person back, or just, you could be in that state of mind. You're really railing inside yourself, fighting with every human emotion you have against, to deny what's going on, all right, or to make sense of it in your head. So it's a human response, and it usually happens in those orders, in that order, in order to process it. And if you deny any of this and you stuff it, it's going to have to be dealt with later. So if you acknowledge these patterns for everything that we lose, or someone says an unkind word to us and we want to knee-jerk fight back, know that that's a normal process, and then you can flow through it quicker, okay, and learn forgiveness for some things. But when you know the order of things, you tend to be able to cope and process things better on an emotional level. So you're going to go through anger and bargaining and frustration and hate God and every other thing. Then, just when you think things are feeling better, you may go into this phase of depression, reflection, and loneliness. All right? And everyone might think, oh, you're okay now. Somebody stole your car and it's been 4 weeks, and and the paperwork's being done, and you're not, and your relationship ended, so you went through all the other things, they cheated on you, yada yada yada. So they're not even dead. So this is still a human process we go through when we have things taken away from us. So now they're okay, but they're very sad and depressed, and you're reflecting on it. You're remembering what it is that you had, and you become sad inside and quiet and still. And I call it sheltering in place, all right? So it's a part of grieving, all right? And then you take that time. How much you need is up to you, all right? And then you work through it, but sometimes people think you're over it at that point, and you're not yet, okay? So then the next step after that, you will not shelter in place forever, and you may revert back to at times, and then come back to that, no, I just want my peace and quiet, and then be sad, and then need my peace and quiet. And then then it's the fifth, the upward tick, all right? You start to get clarity and be able to, do a little work, physical work. You will feel calmer, and you'll start to organize your life, all right? You'll actually start to want to. That's a human thing, to move forward. We are human doings. We like to do things. So when we have a little bit of energy coming back after our sheltering in place, and just mulling over the amount of loss that we have due to the item or object or human being that's not with us anymore, whether they're still alive or not, we do this. We resist change on all levels. We don't like change. So then your depression begins to lift, your body feels a little better, your chakras are open to receiving and, receiving and giving out again. We're not just stuck. And the next phase is number 6, and that one there is really reconstructing your life, starting to get ideas and, how you're going to move forward, picturing what your life might look like without this object or person in it, all right? You're not too excited at this point, but you have to drudge yourself and get these things in order because you're facing the facts now. You're really facing the facts that that's not coming back, and you're going to be okay, all right? And you don't feel good right now, but you're human, picking yourself up, and that's it. So then you have your 7th, which is your acceptance and your hope for the future. All right? So, even, kids going to college, you just see that's coming, that's entering your life, and it's hitting you hard. And divorce, and that person's leaving your life, and now you only have the kids half-time. That's grief. You're losing your marriage, all those hopes and dreams you had, you're going through grief. It's grieving. Allow yourself to grieve. Any loss is a grief. All right? So when you're stuck in imagining what could have been or what was, allow yourself to move through these things. And we are always energy in motion, constantly. Even our body parts, their cells, they're just constantly moving. I mean, we see it in the physical, but in reality, it's just, we are all just energy in motion. So allow your energy to flow like that. Know there's nothing wrong with you. Fortunately, someone came up with these 7 items, whenever, and we can use them today as a valid tool so that we know kind of where we're at in the process. So the end result is to manifest a new life, a new reality, a new whatever it is that you lost, what you want. Put it on your board, put it in your time capsule. I want to feel better, I want to be stronger, I want to be more confident, I want to be more self-assured, but start with yourself, and that's where quiet meditation comes in too. So you can know where you're at, you can feel into your body and where you're at, and allow yourself to flow back and forth. Try not to get stuck in one of these too long, all right? And then honor yourself for every step forward, and you hear a song, and then you revert, and then you come back, and you get to the hope. When you're at the acceptance and of the situation that was, that it's not going to come back exactly how it was, manifest something to replace it. Manifest something to make it better or different or however it's supposed to be for your evolution, and be so proud of yourself for passing that test in Earth School. And when you go back to these stages, don't beat yourself up. Just know that that's what it is, the 7 stages. And then live in the law of attraction. Don't be in the doubter and looking back constantly at what was. Honor it and manifest into your life now without any doubts that you don't deserve it, any blame of anything that you did do, didn't do, wish you had done differently for the past. The grief is left behind you, and you are now on the track to manifesting the miracles and blessed outcomes that you really are on this earth to have. Okay? So I wanted to share that with you. And today is the 21st day that my grandmother, my dad's mother, went to spirit. So I was writing on somebody's board for this grieving group they have. So I honored her on this day, and I said how she's famous now on Facebook. So she's famous again here, and we do have to grieve them and then honor them and then know they're still with us in spirit. All right, and I did write that. I said, thank you, Grandma Dor, for being my ancestral guide on this planet. I know she is. I know she's a big one for me here. I know. So anyway, that's that. So if you need help with anything on your own, let me know. Contact me, Messenger, Crea, Crea.com, private coaching sessions, and to get you through your darkest times and empower your life to kick it. So then in 2020, when we want to see everything clear, like that 2020 vision, we'll be already processing things to allow in, to have that clear vision of what we want and not be trapped up in all these other life things that we are working through. We'll be on the upside, okay? So with love and blessings, have a beautiful day.